Well, under my breath, I said to Barb, that's a tough act to follow. So, good morning, everyone. As Barb mentioned, my name is Michelle Slattery. I'm the Vice President of Sales for TDS Telecommunications. TDS is not only a proud sponsor of the NNSummit, but we're also a proud partner of the Green Bay Packers. So we're especially excited, and I, as a born and raised Wisconsin girl, especially excited to be here at Lambeau Field. For those of you who may not know us, TDS is a Wisconsin-based company that has been in business for over 55 years. We are building an all-fiber, high-speed internet network throughout northeastern Wisconsin, including here in Green Bay, the Fox Valley, Manitowoc, and several other communities. But in addition to our world-class services, strengthening our communities is core to our mission. We would like to thank New North for playing a critical role in laying the groundwork through their extensive broadband study and specific plans for each county. We know that internet access for all means better connected communities and more reliable and equitable opportunities for businesses, schools, healthcare systems, and individuals to thrive. Now, it is my great honor to introduce our next panel to learn from the iconic Sheboygan County companies and the communities on innovative housing initiatives. This program was created through the public and private partnerships of 4 privately held companies: Johnsonville, Kohler Company, Sargento, and Masters Gallery, with the support of the Sheboygan County and Sheboygan County Economic Development Corporation. The purpose is to increase housing availability for talent recruitment efforts and address the lack of entry-level homes available to workers seeking to live and work in Sheboygan County. Throughout this collaboration and funding, the Live Work Housing Program has been recognized statewide and nationally as the best practice in addressing local housing needs. The panel today includes Don Hammond, Merit Financial Advisors and Sheboygan County Economic Development Corporation Board Chair, Steve Westphal, attorney with the Kohler Company, Jeff Gentine, President and CEO of Master Gallery Foods, Louie Gentine, Chairman and CEO of Sargento, and Alayne Krause, Sheboygan County Administrators. Johnsonville was not able to join us this morning due to a scheduling conflict, but we thank them for their investment in this leading edge initiative.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Don Hammond, Chair of the Sheboygan County Economic Development Corporation. And yes, the camera does add 50 pounds, I promise you. To my left is Louie Gentine, Jeff Gentine, Steve Westphal, and Alayne Krause. They were introduced earlier as well. I just want to start with giving a little bit of a background about the Forward Fund and how it was created. The idea of the Forward Fund started in 2021 after a comment was made on a redevelopment call by one of our larger employers that they weren't sure they were going to be able to stay in Sheboygan County in the future because we didn't have any affordable housing. Well, obviously, as the chair of the SCEDC, that gave me a little bit of a pause for concern. I came up with an idea. I talked to our great staff at the SCEDC, and I said, research if there's anything like this out there. Public, private, anything we can emulate, why recreate the wheel? And we found very few, but nothing that really matched what we were up to. After several meetings with the folks here on stage in Johnsonville Sausage, and several iterations, a lot of meetings with attorneys, none of us look good in orange, so with a lot of meetings with attorneys, we came up with the model that we have now, which is the first of its kind in the country that we're aware of, at least, public-private partnership. We've already broken ground on phase 1. We're almost through that. That's 54 houses. Second phase is under construction now, another 46 houses. And phase 3 will be starting in the spring, and that's going to be another 94 houses. Those houses are going to be in the Plymouth area. So we're well underway of our goal to get 400 to 500 houses, entry-level houses, into the marketplace. But our goal was bigger than that. our goal is not only just for us to build these houses, but also as a proof of concept to private investors that, yes, we can build entry-level housing again and do it affordably, but do it profitably. So as we continue to build these houses, others in the marketplace are starting to take notice, and we're starting to get a lot of attention in to build these entry-level houses again in the Sheboygan market at least. And we hope statewide, as well to address this issue. So with that, I'm going to ask our panel some questions. I'm going to start with Jeff. Can you describe how and why your company got involved with this effort?
Thank you, Don. Yeah, good morning. I believe I got a phone call from my cousin Louie here and was strongly encouraged. No, no, he pitched the idea. It was hatched before I got involved, and it came down to soliciting partners, and you know, the ask was large, $2 million, but we didn't hesitate too long to do that. We knew we needed to, we knew we had to address this need, right? We're all hunting for the same workers in a county of, 115,000 people. So it was an easy decision to make an investment in the community and get on board with this project.
Steve.
Yeah, at Kohler Company, we are constantly looking for that private-public partnership. And before we even started as to what it is we're going to, fund towards this initiative, we did a deep dive analysis on what is the challenge, what is the problem. There's a lot of houses in Sheboygan County, like every community, but there's a lot of old housing stock. And so we found really since the Great Recession of 2008 that the new housing stock wasn't being built at the affordable level. And so the three of us and a few others in the community, we all stepped up, not to solve the problem immediately, because this is not an immediate solution. This is a 5, 10, 20-year challenge that we hopefully will succeed at. We might not. This initiative might fail. But our expectation is that the fund that we've created will last into perpetuity. It will be regenerating of funds by the reselling of the homes, that we can go on and build as many houses as we need in the community.
Louie.
Good morning. Well, Don, the community has always been a very important aspect of our identity at Sargento, and we understand the importance that having a strong, thriving community helps us to attract and retain employees in our area. And when I look at the Forward Fund and what it was, the number of different things that it solved, I really looked at it as a way for us to continue to make Sheboygan County a great place to not only live, but to participate in the workforce and to raise your families. And as Jeff and Steve had mentioned, the needs to try and attract more individuals into Sheboygan County is great, but also by having more people and having housing available, the other hope is that it helps inspire other developers to come to Sheboygan County. And it's kind of the chicken or the egg, right? You gotta, do one thing first. And I'm just very thankful to be a part of this group up here on stage, as well as a few others in doing our part in making Sheboygan County a great place to live.
Alayne, I mentioned at the beginning, this is a public-private partnership. You guys are the county's the public portion of this. You're one of the major investors, again, putting $2 million into the effort as well. Why did the county feel the need to get involved with this, with all of the other things the county could be doing?
Sure. Similar to what Louie mentioned, we know that having housing is critical to our community. economic development, workforce stability, et cetera. And while typically it's not county government's role to be building houses or solving those workforce challenges, we know that it's all critical to the viability of our community. So when the county received money from the federal government through the American Rescue Plan Act, we thought this was a great opportunity to take those one-time funds and put them towards a common challenge that we're all facing and do our part to step up and try and solve that problem.
So Louie, what do you see as the biggest benefits to Sheboygan County of what we're doing with the Forward Fund and the housing side of it?
I think in the video, Laura Kohler actually said it very well. Having the opportunity for an individual or a family to begin building equity in their home is really just the basis of kind of, I think, long-term financial stability. And, I think that is one of the key things that will benefit the county of having thriving individuals and families who are able to contribute and give back to their community. And I do think that housing starts always where it is. Sargento has been a strong proponent of housing developments for many, many years, specifically with Habitat for Humanity and working with individuals and providing them the opportunity for home ownership. And, this is just a little bit of an extension of that right here in our backyard. And as I mentioned earlier, I think this type of investment should inspire and bring in other development into our area as well.
Alayne, from the county's perspective, what do you see as the biggest benefit of what's going on with the Forward Fund?
I don't want to sound too redundant here, but it is, building equity, and I think the theme of this event is also right on par with building roots, so we can have people who can come to the community and buy a home and establish roots and stay in the community rather than renting or looking for that next chapter in their life. We want them to come to Sheboygan and stay in Sheboygan. So I think the biggest benefit of this program is not only to once again have another great example in Sheboygan County of a public-private partnership, but allow individuals to either purchase a home who are currently living in Sheboygan, but maybe in an apartment or a different living situation, but also then to welcome new people into our community so that we can have a thriving, vibrant community and welcome new people to fill the thousands of open jobs that we have.
I also add, with the first two phases, we're looking at adding about $30 million to the tax base as well in just those two phases. So there's certainly some additional benefits there. Steve or Jeff, anything to add to what you see as the biggest benefits of what we're doing?
Well, I think just getting affordable inventory on the market where there was such a lack of that. We've got a few employees living in phase one of Founders Point, one of whom, they've been in an apartment for 3 years in Plymouth and just couldn't find anything they could afford. I mean, they're looking at either an overpriced teardown or something way out of their range. 2 children later, they're still in that little apartment, and then this project came along, and I think they were house number 4. And that was just super gratifying because I can imagine being in a little apartment with 2 little kids. They were thrilled. A garage, a yard, everything that you want in home ownership, and we were a small part in making that happen. So that was great.
Steve, anything to add to that?
Yeah, as an employer, as a manufacturer, the traditional return on investment analysis really doesn't apply. And if we tried to apply it, we probably would have failed by that analysis. I think the biggest sign of success is helping hundreds of families build equity, build wealth, which will strengthen the community, which will have the tangential benefit of having a great workforce that wants to stay in the community. So it's the building of the wealth of a lot of people that just aren't able to get that first chance, and then we're helping them do that.
Yeah, I think when we originally started the Forward Fund, it was really designed as a way to bring people to Sheboygan County from outside of the area. But what we found, it's also becoming a retention tool. As Jeff mentioned, folks that are living in apartments right now say, well, if I can't find a house, maybe I'll go somewhere else. Well, now we're giving them the opportunity to find that house, put down those roots, build that wealth that they can keep and live right in Sheboygan County. So, Steve, I'm going to start with you on this question. Obviously, Sheboygan County is heavily manufacturing. You guys are oftentimes competing for, in some cases, the same employees. Why did it make sense for you guys to come together and partner on this instead of doing something on your own and kind of keeping it to yourselves?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident I can speak for the three of us and everyone else involved, is that we didn't look at this as an individual organization initiative. This really was a partnership with the community and finding a way to make the community grow and benefit. And then if we're fortunate enough on the back end to benefit as an employer, that's great, but that really wasn't the driving initiative for us.
Jeff or Louie?
I would just add one more thing. As we see the individuals and families who are purchasing their homes, many of them are going to work at companies much smaller than our companies. And that goes back again to just my comment before that, and Steve just reiterated too, this is all about a community investment. And if we can make the community stronger collectively, the county will be better off overall. So I would love to see a whole lot of Sargento employees, taking advantage of those homes. But at the same time, again, you look at that list and that, again, this investment of, public and private is helping so many people in our area. And that's gratifying.
Jeff, anything to add?
Yeah, I think it's been well covered here. It's hard to add anything to that, but we've got employees there, and that's nice. But when we went into this, we knew there was not necessarily going to be direct, immediate. Okay, there we go. Direct, immediate benefit to our company, but over time, as we get inventory and people do move out of apartments, it creates more apartment room. Somebody downsizes, and it creates a larger home for a larger family, and so that need, we'll get to see that flourish over time. That's exciting.
Absolutely. Alayne, from the county's perspective, what do you see as some of the biggest challenges, that we face as a county? Either from a workforce, from a housing, talk to us a little bit from the county perspective.
Sure. I think Sheboygan County is fortunate to have so many wonderful businesses like some of those who are represented here next to me this morning. We have a lot of large corporations, and they are operating on a global stage, but they are headquartered here in Sheboygan County, and they do such a great job of giving back to the community that they are from, and so we're very fortunate. But even with that, we have the same challenges that many of you do in your own communities. It's a shortage of housing, it's a shortage of people, and then along with those other challenges such as access to broadband, childcare, etc. So I think this is one piece of the puzzle to try and make sure that individuals' needs are met so that they can bring their best selves to work and be productive employees and then give back to the community as well. So I think that there are a number of benefits, and to the point earlier about ROI, it's really hard to measure this or put any data or statistics to it, but I think that just speaks to these companies and their generosity to giving back without any expectation, and that's not unlike other initiatives that we've had in Sheboygan County.
And you guys have, as a county, have done a few other things. Maybe speak a little bit to things like the down payment assistance that you've done to kind of help folks get into housing as well.
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, the county gave $2 million to this initiative, and that came from our American Rescue Plan Act dollars. When the county received that funding, just as every other community did, we saw that as an opportunity to take this one-time injection of money and put that to the best use for our community. So we formed 6 different task forces on critical community needs, including broadband, housing, childcare, broadband, workforce development, and transportation. And those task forces were made up of all different subject matter experts and community leaders representing businesses, nonprofit, education, the trades, etc. And they came together to put all of their ideas on paper and say, what are our most critical needs and how can we use these dollars to address those challenges? And so specific to the housing task force, the two recommendations that were ultimately supported by our county board were not only the $2 million for this program, but then also a down payment assistance program through Partners for Community Development, which is here in the New North region. And one of the things that we did with that task force, we wanted to make sure that we weren't duplicating any existing programs or services. So we made sure that we were meeting with folks like Habitat for Humanity and Partners for Community Development to make sure that we weren't duplicating their efforts and stepping on their toes in any way. We also wanted to make sure that we were helping those people who might be on the bubble. They might not quite be able to reach home ownership, but they might have a salary that's too high that they don't qualify for other existing programs. So we wanted to make sure that we were meeting the needs of those people who were on the bubble and truly trying to make a change where there was a gap previously.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Part of the Forward Funds initiative was to be able to allow folks that were kind of on the bubble that didn't qualify for certain benefits to be able to get into a house affordably, and that's why the limits are the way they are, up to 140% of county median income. One of the things we didn't touch on at the very onset is obviously with the houses, that's just one portion of what we're trying to do, and the way we market these houses in addition to being out there on the MLS is through our website, someplacebetter.org. Shameless plug, go out, take a look at it, but someplacebetter.org. For the companies at the table, feel free to jump in. In addition to the housing initiative and Someplace Better, I mean, how are you using what we're doing to attract and retain additional employees? And I'll open it up to any one of you.
Yeah, I don't know that we're... This microphone's off. Okay, no, it's on. I don't know that we're actually using it much in our attraction efforts. I mean, we're hiring largely on second and third shift, weekend crews, folks that, you know, they tend to be in the area. There's a ton of job opportunities in our area, right? So we are all scrapping for the same folks. We certainly make our employees aware of this. And I think it works on the retention side for sure. You know, I mentioned our other employee and a few others. You know, the fact that they're able to put down roots in the area is important. But getting people to come here, I know that was the initial goal. We all wanted them to come to Sheboygan County where the jobs are. And we're such heavy manufacturing. You know, that's been difficult, being honest, and certainly getting them in from out of state. But once they're here, yeah, they don't want to leave, so that's great.
Steve or Louie?
I would say that we use it on our career site as a tool to help a potential employee, new employee, make a decision to come. So we want to just make sure that we're giving them all of the different opportunities that they have to either purchase a home or find a community. Someplace Better is a great example that does more than just sell houses. I mean, it talks about our community. And I think, again, as I think Steve had reiterated earlier, this is just one piece of a much bigger picture to make Sheboygan County a better place to live and to work and to raise your families.
As we've gone through the project over the last couple of years, I think we've all been surprised or didn't anticipate issues to arise or challenges. One of the things that we discovered, and we do use this as a recruiting tool, we don't lead with it. Hopefully, it's one of the last cherries on the top of the sundae that is able to get in a new associate to say yes. We started, I think, the initiative more for factory floor workers, and we're actually seeing administrative and professionals actually very interested in this. Now, there are some income thresholds that challenge them. So the challenge of finding affordable housing is all the way from the factory floor all the way through all the corporate offices too. But we use it as a tool with regularity.
So we're all sitting up here today and we're excited about the future and where we are, but there was some road bumps to get here. From a leadership standpoint, what would you say were some of the bigger challenges we faced as we were kind of going down this path? I'll start with you, Jeff.
I think just securing, the funding. We would have loved to have probably opened this up to more companies, but we got to a dollar level that I think made it work, and there was plenty of interest in the area, but not at this level. And I think we wanted to make sure, in order to move swiftly, that we kept this to a tight group initially. Certainly open to other investment, but just establishing that core group and getting it off the ground. And I know others can elaborate better on the legal side of things. I'll stay away from that one.
Louie?
I think for me, it wasn't really a challenge or a barrier, but a lot of time and effort went into finding the right community partners to partner with the Forward Fund. And certainly the very collaborative work that the city of Sheboygan Falls was willing to provide. The city of Plymouth has, stepped up to also want to figure out a way to make this work. This is a unique model, and it doesn't necessarily work for every community, even though every community would probably love to have, a 90-plus unit housing development put up. But finding the right community partners, I think, has been a challenge. And that, just again, another plug for Alayne and Sheboygan County Board. And I don't know if there's any other county administrators that are in here today, but she took a leap with us to really get behind this initiative, and I don't think that happens very often. So I give a lot of credit to Alayne and our county board for really seeing the vision that was brought forward to help contribute and truly be a part of a public-private investment opportunity.
Well said. Alayne, from challenges that you faced along the way, obviously getting the county board on board, it was probably not terribly easy, but and then Steve will wrap up with you.
Yeah, so we have a 25-member elected board, and ultimately they were the decision makers on where the county's investment would go and what projects we would support. And I think having the backing, as I said earlier, of all of the different, obviously the companies and their investment, but then the subject matter experts that were involved in the decision making, they really trusted that we took a long and thoughtful approach to these dollars and how they were going to be invested, made sure that we had all of our facts straight, and we presented reports. And at the end of the day, they realized, the impact that this would have on the community, and it's hard to say no to something like that. So we appreciate their support, and it wouldn't be possible without our partners. And Sheboygan County has I think a really rich tradition of collaboration, private-public partnerships. There's nothing that we do individually. Everything is we. I could go down a list of major initiatives, whether it's hosting the Ryder Cup or bringing a U.S. Customs facility to our county airport. There are a number of things that we do in partnership with our local companies and with our other units of government. And so this just was one more natural collaboration and partnership.
Steve, you were part of this from the very beginning, as well as Jeff and Louie was truly at the very beginning. I think that was the first phone call I made. But challenges that you saw as we went down this path.
Yeah, I think Louie mentioned it well. The first step you take, I think, is finding the right partners. Because you'll be working closely with them. And we're fortunate enough, our organizations know each other very well, and we collaborate on a lot of things. But know who your partners are and trust your partners. We very simply could have each turned over the $2 million to the county or to someone else and say, go build some houses. But we didn't do that model. We are actively involved. The five of us here meet with regularity almost every month. We don't choose the color of the paint on the walls, but we really get into the details as to building the houses and where to build them, what the final price points are, and you really can't do that if you don't trust your partners. And so I would encourage everybody, anybody, if there's community need for housing, we'd be happy to talk to you about more details. But know your partner, trust your partner, and be willing to fail. The initiative could fail, and don't be afraid of that.
So as we wrap up, last question, and it's kind of an open question for the panel. As we again kind of wrap this session up, any words of wisdom, from your perspectives, that if another community out there, there's another county administrator, as Louie said, out there thinking, how do we do this? What should we do? Where should we start? Any words of wisdom?
I don't know if they're words of wisdom, but we're all family businesses up here, and with shared values, and I think we all invest heavily in our community, and I'm sure there's other like-minded companies out here who do the same thing. And if you believe in long-term investment, I mean, this is a great project. No classical ROI for it, that's for sure. But I think you lead with your heart on this one, and good things happen.
Any other nuggets of wisdom? No? I think in Sheboygan County, and I know there's other counties like it, we're pretty blessed to have the family-owned companies we have, and the fact that they're willing to continue to invest in the county, in the communities that they're in, is just a true testament to the folks on the stage here and their employees, their management, their leadership, and their boards. So as we kind of wrap up, a couple other people I'd like to thank. Brian Dowden is down here. He's our executive director. We get the glory. He does the work. So we appreciate all the efforts that you put. Jody Scherner is also here. She's on our executive committee, but also our representative on the New North Board. Again, doing a great job. Thank you to TDS for sponsoring us, of course. And then, Barb, I would be remiss if I didn't say congratulations on your retirement as well. Well deserved. We appreciate the renewed partnership that you've brought with Sheboygan County and the New North. So thank you very much as well. With that, thank you for your time and attention, and we certainly would be happy to answer any questions as we go into the networking break. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just want to again thank Don and Louie and Jeff and Steve and Alayne. What they shared with you is really foundational to the success and the growth of Sheboygan County. It's a best practice all across the country, so we wanted to bring it here that we can all learn from one another. So let's give them one more round of applause.